the good part about other shows is, paying things, but no other shows are hitting right now. Like PFL pays well, but they just haven't been able to build any hype, which kind of sucks. Like I have a fighter, Apache Mix, 35-pounder. He's so good, but he doesn't get the hype he deserves, and it sucks seeing that. They pay him well, but
I'm not sure what the answer is for that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, so it's so hard not being in the UFC. So if you're not in the UFC, you're just not getting the hype. So it's one of those situations that it gets tricky.
Yeah.
So, do you watch much fighting nowadays, or not really?
I still love watching fighting. I mean, people ask me, watch all the UFC. Well,
there's so many.
There's so many and so many fights, and I don't have only so much time. But yeah, I still like watching fights. I enjoy fighting. I always will. But it's when I have time, I watch the fight. So
yeah, no, for a while I kind of took a break, but I'm starting to watch it again, and it's way more fun when you learn the fighters. So I didn't know who most of the new fighters were anymore. I remember going training Sean Strickland. I had no idea who he was. I'm like, this guy's pretty good, and he's running his mouth. And I'm like, should I fight this guy? Or then I'm like, oh, I like this guy after all. I forgot to know him. Just then I look him up, like, oh, this is one of the top guys.
But it's good. That's what people ask me. Like they'll ask me, hey man, who do you think's gonna win in this fight? I'm like, well, I really haven't watched that guy that much. And then when I watched him, I wasn't really because I watch fights different. I have two ways to watch the fights. I watch fights for fun.
Yeah.
And I watch fights to break someone down.
It's totally different. I agree.
Yeah. If you want me to break down a fight, I've got to watch 3 fights of this guy and the last 3 fights of this guy, the last 3 fights of this guy. I'll look at him and I can give you a general idea I can give an idea who I think will win. And I think it's not like back in the day when I knew everybody and I watched all their fights and I've seen all their fights and I've actually trained with the guys that train them or I trained with them before. And then I was I could pretty much give you. I'd be probably 9 out of 10 pick each fight. But then the one I lost usually was a heart bet. Was someone I really liked was fighting. I thought he had a better chance than he did.
Yeah, no, it's way harder to bet now because you have to really pay attention to every fighter. So unless I actually know someone well and who both of them are fighting, like I said, I bet on Marab. That was a tough fight, but I've watched him train so much. I know he has that extra gear he can kick into, and I knew it'd be a tough fight. But I'm like, I think he can pull this off. He was a big underdog,
awesome,
but it was so cool back in the day. There wasn't very many UFCs, and it was like such an ordeal. Everyone would gather up and be like, you would know every single fighter.
Yeah.
So it was obviously it's better now with all the money and fame, like President Trump there. But there was something magical about the days when we were fighting, when it was just like
it was really cool. But sports great, and it keeps getting better.
Well, yeah, it's definitely way better now. But I do like how tough everyone used to be because everyone that fought back then was crazy.
We had a lot more fighters.
Yeah, it was different, but overall it's definitely better now, guys. The fame, the money, and everything. It's like I tell people, we were just trying to figure out how to mix it together and train it, right? And then now they're coming in and they're learning it from as a kid. They learn mixed martial arts from the start. Yeah, because I came from wrestling. You came from wrestling and karate. And
you came from one of the advantages I had in the beginning was I came with 2 of the disciplines and just had to learn one.
Yeah, no, that's true. That was a huge. Yeah, almost everyone else had one discipline. You already had 2.
And I already had 2, so it was a real good. It was a real advantage to me, and being able to kind of control where that fight was fought and doing those things. So,
is there any favorite fighters you have nowadays, or just?
I like Poirier. He's training with so I like him. And he's so relaxed, so calm. He's a good dude. I like the way his attitude, and I like the way he fights.
Yeah, I hung out with him with Glover one day. His English obviously isn't that great, but you could tell he's a little he seems really intimidating, but then after hanging out with him a little while, you can tell he's he's actually really friendly and nice.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. But I like a lot of fighters out there. There's a lot of tough guys out there. And there's a lot of fun fights to watch.
Yeah, that Strickland, Duplessis, that'll be a good fight because I like both of those guys. That's going to be a good one at 85. Yeah, it's coming up soon.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That's an exciting fight.
Yeah, that's a hard one to pick. I mean, the last one was basically dead even.
Yeah, I had Strickland last time. Actually, and I like like you said, I like both of them too. So I don't feel like I was biased at all.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when we watch a friend's fight, we watch a friend's fight live.
He won.
I feel like he won, and I go back and watch it. Oh, well, okay, I can see how he lost that.
It would suck to be a judge of some of these close fights. Sometimes you see a fight and ooh, that was close. Like the Strickland fight you just mentioned, I wouldn't want to be a judge of that fight because I remember watching it and I was unsure who won. I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I was paying close enough attention to want to judge this.
Yeah, well, I think as a judge, you have to pay attention to each round, right? So, because that's the thing, and people try to
judge each round,
and people try to, but it's hard to like blank out the last round, just to judge this round, because it's one of those things like like even like when he beat Adesanya. If he hadn't dropped him in the first round, he might not have won that fight.
No, that's true. They fight you close.
He might not have won that fight because just because of how hard they make it to. Sometimes they get these judges in their head that the guy they think is going to win.
Oh yeah, sometimes just thinking someone's going to win. Yeah,
he's going to win. He wins that for close win by the other person's in the first round. Instead, gives it to that one. And if you have a couple close rounds, early rounds that are close, and they're given the wrong way, then you could lose a fight that you should have won.
Yeah, sometimes like on paper, someone will be the better strikers, but they might be losing the striking match. But people think like, oh, because it's standing where he wants to be, and they're not like actually watching what's happening.
Right. Yeah, I've seen it where, and then other times you see guys, referees just don't know what they're talking about. But I forget it was. I saw it on Ultimate Fighter, and I was watching it, and it was a fight that went into overtime, right? And the overtime round. Basically, they do the 2 rounds and then overtime, right? Overtime round. I mean, both guys were gassed and didn't throw much. I think one guy threw like 3 punches, landed 1. The other guy threw like 4 punches, didn't land any. And they gave it to the guy that landed none. I'm like,
what did you?
That round, like one of the judges did. The other 2 gave it to the other guy. But it was like,
what the hell did you watch?
What did he do to win that round? Like he was.
Some of these judges are idiots. In Ultimate Fighter, you coached 2 seasons, the very first season, right? And that's what really just skyrocketed you. And after you fought Randy, and that was
it made a difference between walking through a mall and, like I said, we were talking about earlier, like picking out who could who beat me, and there was all that like people just all of a sudden just everybody like, oh, hey, I saw you the other night, and we did a lot of stuff. I was traveling around with Dana a lot, and we were up promoting the sport and going to a lot of things, and a lot of the things I did were trying to get stuff like we went after doing the entourage thing. We did a lot of different like.
That's right. You did a bunch of TV stuff too. They put you,
trying to promote. I wasn't. People are, oh, that was a good job promoting your brand. I'm like, I wasn't trying to promote my
help
brand.
the sport.
I was trying to promote a sport I loved.
And
that was kind of. I think it just comes across that way too.
Yeah, and there's things I'm critical of Dana about, but he's definitely done a lot to grow the sport. I would never deny that. The guys.
Well, yeah. I always say before him and Lorenzo came in, I mean, when I was in the sport, it was. A home run was making $150,000 a year.
I remember.
And by the end of my career, I was making that on my shorts.
No, exactly.
For my short,
difference.
My sponsorship for the fight. So it was like, it was a big difference. If they hadn't come in, I don't know if we would have got there when I was still fighting.
Yeah,
I know we wouldn't.
Yeah, the Fertitta brothers were awesome. A lot of people don't even know they're behind the scenes, like the one that bought it, and they were heavily involved too. They sold
for sure.
$4 point something billion.